All right. Good evening, Source Nation, and welcome to SRN Live Television. I am your host, author Kimberly McLemore, and thank you for tuning in tonight to my show, The Author's Corner. Tonight, we have another amazing show for you, and I have another amazing guest as usual. But before I bring on my guest, let me just take a couple of minutes and just tell you a little bit about who I am. And before we go through all that, I want to just show you real quickly that I am the author of How to Be a Success by Just Being You, memoir, Deception of the Heart, a real look into domestic violence. And my new book is Are You Living or Existing? The Pros and Cons of Balancing Life, which is now available. I am also the founder and CEO of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, the host of the podcast Your Resource for Success, which is on iHeartRadio and Spotify. And I am the founder of the Author Kimberly M. McLemore, LLC, and of course, this new platform, radio TV show called The Author's Corner. And the purpose behind this new platform is that I like to give my new and existing authors an opportunity to promote their books, tell us a little bit about the events that they have coming up within their communities. And of course, we want to know where the book came from and why they decided to write it, the purpose behind it. So without further ado, Source Nation, let me just tell you a little bit more about my special guest, author PK Kersey. He is the visionary author of author of Suited for Success, and the founder and president of the nonprofit organization called That Suits You and PKs Pitch. So we're gonna bring up my dear friend and author PK Kersey. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. And after I got through all the flubbing up and trying to figure out what I wanted to say, like, wait a minute, this is not the way this is supposed to come out. But hey, it's all working and everything is
cool.
great. All right. So why don't you just take a couple of minutes and tell everybody just a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to here lately.
Well, hello everyone. I'm from Brooklyn. Lived here all my life. I'm excited. I actually worked for the government first let me say I've been married for 24 years, 25 years. I have twin boys, Kel and Kai. They're currently going to be 10 in March. So I worked for the government for over 24 years, where I was the manager in the Department of Motor Vehicle. And after working there and seeing a lot of men come in for interviews and not really get the jobs because of their attire, I decided to form a nonprofit called That Suits You, where we collect suits and ties to give to men who need them for work, students for high school and prom and graduation.
That's right. Okay. So, wow. So that is a lot of information and a very quick, in a short, quick period of time. But so what I want to do is we're going to backtrack just a little bit. And I
Okay.
want to talk a little bit more about you personally. And before we actually start diving into the book itself. And then, of course, I want to talk a little bit about your nonprofit organization, because I know you have two different things going on. So before we get into that, though, tell me a little bit more just about who you are and what your purpose was after you realized the 24 years of being on a job. What really made you decide to just jump into what you're doing beyond the 24 years of just working for the government?
I think the big part of it was I felt stagnant. It was the same routine. I don't know if you saw the movie Groundhog Day, but it was the
Yes.
same the same routine every day, and my mind just got just bored out of my wits. I mean, it's very difficult to listen to motivational people like Les Brown and some of the other great people I listen to, Miles Monroe.
Mhm.
And listen to them day in and day out, and not do something like you just feel like you're putting water in the balloon, and the balloon just getting sooner or later it's gonna pop. So
Right.
I felt like it was something I had to do. The mundane day after day, same thing, the same report every morning, the same report every afternoon. Nothing changed. Like I could have did it blindfold. That really began to wear on me, and I felt there was but I didn't know what to do. Like I knew I wanted to do something, but what specifically I wanted to do, I didn't know. So that became even
Right.
more frustrated. I mean, I went around doing all types of multi-level marketing. Me and my friends, we tried to do some things together, but nothing really hit me like the vision that I had with That Suits You and then Suited for Success.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Right.
I can hear you, but now we got you frozen on the screen. So as long as
Oh,
we can hear each other, we're good. So I don't want to stop
okay.
because this is too much really good information. So you talked about the stagnation, being on a job for 24 years. And I think a lot of people who come into the world of discovery of understanding what it means to be an entrepreneur or start a business, we all had that same icky feeling inside of that something just isn't right, and we want to make that change, and we want to do things that make us feel good. So after all those things that you had discovered though, and you realize that, hey, I got to move on, I got to do something, but I know there's obviously some difficulty that came with that. So talk a little bit about the process of what it took for you to make those steps, to come into your own, for a few seconds.
Uh, well, like I didn't. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you perfectly. Yeah, we
Okay.
just got you frozen on the screen.
Yeah, that's my best picture face on the screen too.
Now, look, I,
So
I could I could drop you back down and bring you back up to see if we can see your handsome face again. I mean, I love the shot, but we want to open your eyes up. So just give me a second.
okay.
Oh goodness. All right. I can't see him still, so I'm going to give him a couple seconds, Source Nation, before we actually come back on, because it's still have an empty screen on the other side. I know that we want to make sure that I want him to be able to tell a story and be able to tell it, so we can actually see him. So let me see if I can bring him back in. Yep, we still got you frozen. You want to pop back out and then pop
Yeah,
back in?
I could do that. No problem.
All right, so he's going to come back in just a second. Just want to reintroduce again who I have on board with us. I have this amazing author named PK Kersey. Like I said, he is the visionary of Suited for Success, and he's also the founder and president of the nonprofit organization called That Suits You and PKs Pitch. We're having a few technical difficulties, so we're going to bring him back on in just a second. So just be a little patient with us and just hang in there, because I'm telling you, this is going to be an amazing continued interview. So he is popping back on. Here we go. So just give me a second. Bring him back on. There you are.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, move your eyes because you were getting, I don't know if you were still frozen or not. All right. So, okay. So let's go back to where we were at. We were talking about the fact that here you were 24 years, you really finally realized that being stagnant was not where you wanted to be. And you started making these changes. But talk a little bit about the process of the changes that you went through in order to start that the nonprofit organization that you have.
Well, one of the good things is because I was in a management position where I was at, I had a lot of free time. So, well, not a lot, but I had some free time. So before work and during lunch and after work, I actually started working on this nonprofit that eventually I would go to full time. But the process was, was very challenging as far as you dealing with home life,
Mm-hmm.
married, children, family, working. I'm involved in the church. So it was mainly trying to really structure and make enough time to do everything that I wanted to do. So, but once I figured out what it was, I just put my all my energy into making it a reality because I had to I could not take the regular day to day that I was doing. So I figured I said this has to work. So I have to put my 100% into it to whatever I have to do as far as scheduling, as far as working late, staying up late. Of course, family is first, but I have to make this work no matter what it was going to take. And that's basically the mindset I had. I purposed in my heart that I was going to do whatever it takes because I had tried so many, like I said before, I tried so many different things that didn't work. I
Mm-hmm.
really felt and the reason I had started it was because my wife was pregnant. She was
Mm-hmm.
pregnant with twins. It was just me and her. We working two incomes, but then she got pregnant, and then it was with twins. She wasn't working for a long time, so it was just me, and now four people. So I said,
Right.
God, I really need more income. I need more money, and the what He told me was, I want you to get suits, and I want you to give them to men who need them for work. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's really great for them. But how is that going to help my situation where I'm saying
Right.
I need more money and you want me to give suits to people for work? But little did I know that that one decision would forever change my life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And your program is phenomenal. But beyond just providing suits in your non-programmation, what other programs and training or what that you provide for those that you are uh, giving back to into the community?
Yeah, we believe that we want to suit the outer man, but train the inner man. So not only do we just give the suits, we also provide training. We have workshops called choices workshops where we break it down as far as change habits, options,
Mhm.
image, communication, effort equals success. So we use that that those workshops to talk about my years of working in government, my brother in banking. We talk about our experience of being promoted, taking interviews, relationship, social media. We take all of that and we put it in and we pour into these young men the
Mhm.
importance of that. Because when we go into schools, we see so many talented, gifted, beautiful young men, but they really don't have the focus and the dedication because whatever reason they may be bored, family life. And being that we come from that same struggle, we want to impart to them that listen, whatever there is something great inside of you. Whatever you so we want to let you know not only is something great inside you, but we want to help you bring out that greatness so that you can in turn inspire and teach someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that the way that you guys have put this together, especially your thought process. And it's amazing how we all feel when we put on something new. We feel,
Mhm.
just like a whole new person, and from even getting your hair done to putting our makeup on. So having that suit and realizing that there is a purpose behind it. I love that philosophy of what you've brought up and helping these young men and even grown men. There are so many men who have not had the opportunity to even understand what it means to have a suit on and what how people look at you and how you feel when you're standing up when you're talking, as whether it's doing an interview or just having a basic conversation. You have a whole different attitude, I believe, when you realize your worth. And by
Exactly.
and by putting that suit on these young men and even the gentlemen who have been involved in this process with you, they've even probably feel more worthy knowing that every day I'm not just wearing this suit just to wear it, I'm wearing it for a purpose.
Right, exactly. And just teaching them how to tie a tie. That that one experience, not only is it just a tie training, but it's also a mentorship. It's also a relationship strategy. So we use those things that empower them, and then once they learn, we see them immediately showing other people how to tie that knot. And then once
Mm-hmm.
they get that knot tied, they want to know the next knot. Then they want to know more about why their image is so important, and that's where the teaching and the training comes involved. So it works hand in hand. So I really do believe that God has given me this to bring to the world and bring to young men who need that because I was in that situation. I remember the first suit I had got, my pastor had bought the suit for me. I was dancing and wearing all type of club clothes, and when it came time for an interview, I didn't have the attire. And I mean, my father always taught me how to tie a tie, but now I
Mm-hmm.
was grown, I knew how to tie a tie, but I didn't have those attire. Suits can be expensive, so we want to
Yes.
provide those to those suits to those who need them.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Any clothing that is upper considered upper extra, lawn. It's everything is expensive. But you
Right.
have to have a certain appearances means as everything to most people. So that what's the saying, as they say, that first look, you never
First
forget
impression.
first
Right.
impressions you never ever forget. So even though, like I said, the first impression is about wearing the suit, but it's also how you conduct yourself. So it's important that you guys are providing those resources and providing those trainings that these young people need, because you're right. It's amazing though, in this day and age, you would think that even in the school systems, I know that there are some of these programs that are available, but it amazes me how many young people do not know how to go out and look for work. And then once they do start looking for work, they don't know what to wear. They don't know what to say on an interview. They just have no idea. And it just, sometimes I just don't get it, that you would think that I feel like we're going 10 steps backwards versus going 10 steps forward. So we're consistently all having to have these types of programs available to ensure that our young people are getting the step up that they need so they can be successful. So
Right.
I applaud people like you who are providing these type of programs, because they're absolutely needed. And you're going to be around for a long time, so you don't have to worry about never having enough. And I love that people are volunteering and providing the suits that these young men need, so that they can understand what this process is about. But now I want to jump into your book. I'm excited
Okay.
about the book, and I got to bring up one of my favorite pictures of me and you.
Yeah,
This is the
Milk
day,
River
huh?
at Milk River.
That's right. And this is the day that we met. And I was like, I just was, the spirit there was there. And I just really felt connected with you. And I'm so glad we had the opportunity to talk for a few minutes and meet each other. Then, of course, we ended up being on the same radio show that evening.
Right.
So that was such
Dr.
a
Larry.
pleasure. That's right, with Dr. Larry. Yep. And then, of course, we have to thank VPR for that opportunity.
Yes.
Q, if
Thank
you're listening, we're talking about you.
you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was such a pleasure being able to meet you in person there in New York, and obviously, our goal is to come back and do this again. But what I want to talk about is this famous book, and I know you got yours. I got mine. Yes, 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 yes. I love the book, and I just love the cover of it, and the name "Suited for Success." Perfect
Yes.
name, perfect name for the book. What made you come up with that name in
Well,
particular?
it was born from the That Suits You movement, and I worked with an excellent publisher from that helped me put the book together, and her name is Ty, and I actually came up with the idea for Journeys for Success. I wanted to go with that, but she's, and that's her field. She's so creative. She said, "Well, you want to branding is very important, so you want to go with that suits you. Suited for Success would be more in line with that." So I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And it's basically 25 Black men sharing their stories of what it takes or what it took them to be successful. And it ties in line with the young men we speak to when we show them this book and we tell them that it's 25 Black men in this book and they're
Mhm.
sharing their stories. They're like, it's all Black authors. Yeah, it's 25 Black men sharing what they had to do to succeed and the struggles, the same struggles you may have faced, the same things you go through, the same places, the same tough neighborhoods, the same individuals, the same challenges, and they succeeded. So if they can succeed, then you definitely have everything you need to succeed. And it inspires them to want to go forward and to push forward and to achieve their dreams, to know that people just like me have done the same thing.
Exactly. And we all know that we all feel much better when we can see people who look just like us doing
Correct.
those and making those accomplishments because, even though we are still in 2018, soon to be 2019, we still have that consistent fight, on TV of not being able to see enough of people of color, people who look like us. So these young people realize that there are more people in the world and we all have accomplished certain things and that we all can provide, give them something to look up to, so it's great that here it is, you have these other 25 men that have volunteered to be a part of this and such a now it's such a huge success. You have not only been just an individual out in the community, you have been on outlets such as ABC, NBC, Here and Now, New York Ones, New
All right.
Yorker of the Week, and News 12 Brooklyn. You also have been featured in publications such as Blackpreneur magazine and many others. So you have been overwhelmingly, noticed out there in your community. And being, of course, being in New York, like they always say, if you can't make it there, you can't make it anywhere, right?
Right, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I've actually been fortunate. I think I'm frozen, but I've actually been
That's
fortunate
because you
to.
was moving. That was
Yeah,
because
I had to move. My battery was dying. um, but yeah, I've been fortunate to be in different media publications. New York is a tough place, but
Mm,
it's so many outlets and opportunities here that I wouldn't want to be any other place. So I'm just fortunate to uh, be a, be able to connect and have relationships with people that can put me on TV and radio and media outlets.
mhm.
And one thing about me, once I go somewhere, I definitely try to bring my whole village, my whole team with me because I know how important it is. I'm not a person to get information and then hoard it and not
Right.
willing to share. If I get some information that can help someone else, I'm definitely going to share it with other
Mhm.
people. Whether or not they take advantage of it, that's one thing, but I'm definitely going to share it with them.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the way it should be because, like you said, hoarding it to yourself does not help you any. And, and the blessings don't come as well either. I believe that the more that you provide and put out there, everything comes back full circle. It comes back in double. So I absolutely agree with what you're doing. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna push you back down again and see if we can get your face back on here for being unfrozen. Even though this is a better facial feature than being froze. I
Yeah, I'd
gotta
rather
teach
have
you
that
about
one.
it. So here we go. Let's see if we can bring him back up. PK is definitely having some technical issues this evening with the phone and with the internet. And I know he's in a new place, so that's part of what's going on. So just give us a couple more seconds, and I will bring him back up into the lobby so that we can continue this conversation. Because I have a few more great questions that I really want to ask, and so that you all here at Source Nation can continue to hear his story and hear about his success. So let me see if we can try to push him back up again because I'm not seeing that face just yet. So for those who may be just chiming in, we are still waiting to get PK Kersey back on. PK Kersey is an amazing author, and he's the visionary author of Suited for Success, and he is the founder and president of the nonprofit organization called That Suits You and PKs Pitch. So we're still trying to get my special guest back up on the screen because he was stagnated there for a minute, and so here we go. I see him. All right, we're going to bring him back on board, everyone. So just hold tight. All right, good. Glad to have you back.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Okay, I have a question. I have your book, as you know, and I have this wonderful autograph book, and I went through it, and I have a question. And one thing that I really like is when you talk about time to level up in the book. I'm going to read what you have because I love this part, and then I want to talk about why you wrote this piece. It says, I can no longer tolerate people saying that they don't have time to focus on their vision or dreams. And to me, that is no longer acceptable. When someone tells me that, all I hear is that they don't want to, they are too lazy, or they are happy with where they are. I would prefer that they say those things instead of saying that they don't have time. I
Wow, that's
love
hard. That's hard. I
and
said
it
that. Wow.
You did, but you had when you wrote that piece. Tell me what you were feeling at that moment because I love it. I love it for the fact that people need to start owning their decisions
Right,
in
right,
life
right,
and
right.
what they do. So
Right.
it sounds hard when I'm reading it to you, but really tell me, what were you feeling at that time? Because when you wrote this, you had to be feeling something that made you decide, you know what, I got to say this, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to be raw about it.
You know what? Because so many times people they live in tomorrow. I always talk about today is greater than tomorrow. Tomorrow is greater than yesterday. So many people live in tomorrow and they say, well, I'm going to do this one day, or when things change, or I can't wait for my birthday. I can't wait for vacation. I can't wait for the summer. They're always waiting for something to happen. And when it comes to their dreams, they continually put them off because I'm gonna wait till next year when the time is right, when I have enough money, once I move. And those tomorrow sometimes never comes. Today is greater than tomorrow. So you have to really take advantage of today. Make the decision today. I don't care if it's writing one letter of a book, one word, one sentence. Long as you do something today that's going to impact tomorrow. Don't just, tomorrow is wonderful, beautiful if we reach it. So it's things that we can do today that can impact it and have a tremendous lead us in a direction, but we have to do things today. So when people say, well, I don't have time, I don't have time to do anything that I'm doing right now, but I have to make time to make it happen. Otherwise, none of these things, you say Black Enterprise, Essence, New York or the Week, none of ABC, none of those things would have happened if I didn't make the decision to do what I did. So when I wrote that, I guess I was just excited about the book, about the business, and I wanted to, push that on to people, not to push it off till tomorrow.
Right. And you're absolutely right. It gets to a point where uh you can't live your dreams if you're constantly pushing them to the side. It's just that simple. And, and it's funny, we're having this conversation because even in my new book, I talk about the fact that's what it's about, is balancing life. Are you really living or are you existing? Because every day we know we got to get up and we live because it's a purpose. There's a reason behind, why God decided, you know what, I'm going to wake you up today. I'm going to give you another opportunity to get up and do what you're supposed to do. But everybody has so many reasons of why they can't do it. So that's why I said when I read this, I was like, oh, this is my favorite part of it. Because it's nothing like owning it up and telling the truth.
Right.
When you tell the truth and you can start to soar more. You start to expand into who you really are when you realize who you are. And like we talked a little bit earlier this evening, for me, it's all about self-assessment. And when you start to analyze and realize what you're about, you have those capabilities to be able to start planning out and doing the things that you say you want to do. So like I said, when I read this was very important piece, because leveling up is important. And also the other thing that I noticed that I liked in the book that you talked about women. You talked a little bit about in the first portion of the book about how women have been moving forward and doing the things you're doing, and you applauded us for what we do. And I thought that was very commending of you to do that. So talk to me about why you decided to bring the women up first before you talked about the men in the book.
Well, because on my Facebook page, I see so many women conferences. I see so many women coaches, women leading industry, and actually, it was an article that Black women are actually the highest level of starting businesses. So I'm like, women are really killing it. Then they have Black Girls Rock on TV. They have Essence Fest. There's so many things that they're doing, and a lot of times men, we sit back and watch it happen. That's one of the reasons why I put the book together. I was actually part of a collaboration that had, I think it was 12 women, and I was the only man. And I said, nah, I can't let this happen again. So I said, I want to put together a collaboration of men writing, and I hadn't heard of it being done before. And 24 guys got together along with myself, and we made it happen. But I applaud women for the leadership and the direction and going forward and collaborating and building together. I really admire how they are able to do that, and I wanted to be able to tap into that with men putting things together like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you're right. I mean, and granted, we are out on the forefront. We're doing what we're doing, but we also still, as women, have some of the same issues, the same problems when it comes to the collaboration, when it comes to applauding and each other and patting each other on the back, but the one thing we are doing is that we aren't afraid to go out and just do what we need to do. And I think a part of that is just embedded in us from the time that we are brought into the world. Women are told that this is your responsibility. This is your job. It doesn't matter how hard it gets. You just get up and you do it. And we do that. We can make a penny stretch, as they say. We have children. Everything that we do is all about strength. And so, but it's always better that when we have not just our strength, but our armor, which is our male counterparts and our other colleagues to be with us, we are much stronger together. And so I loved how you provided that information in your book, and then you brought it all together. So that to me was really great to see that, because it's always great to hear our brothers complimenting all of us, because we don't get that often enough. So thank you.
Yes, no problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. So before we go, though, I want you to tell the listeners where they can get your book, and then talk about if you have any upcoming events. Would you like to share with us?
Yeah, well, they can. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be on the show, and I appreciate it. I had a good time. It's a pleasure meeting you. I'm so glad we connected. They can definitely follow our work on social media at That Suits You. That's ThatSuitsyou. They can also go to PK Kersey social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and connect with me there. Also, go to our website, www.thatsuitsyou.org. You can see the work that we're doing. You can actually get a copy of the book, Suited for Success. It's an excellent copy, not just for young men or older men, but for everyone who's thinking about getting into business or having struggles or just need words of encouragement. It's definitely an excellent read to make you laugh, cry, but it will inspire you to want to do something that maybe you have never done before.
Absolutely. And so, and I see you're frozen again, but that's okay. You got that
And I
new
didn't
look
even
back
move that
again.
time.
I said, oh, he brought back the new look again. So So, but but again, I want to say thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure having the opportunity to speak with you, and I hope to see you in 2019. And you
We
continue
will.
to
We
you
will.
absolutely continue to do the great work that you're doing, PK. I'm very proud of you, and I'm very proud to be a part of our friendship here. And like I said, looking forward to see you next year. And up, I see you a little bit there. Where'd you go, PK? You're moving. Hey,
Yeah.
he's back.
And I also wanted to give a big shout out to Dr. Larry White for bringing us together, introducing us, and congratulations on his book as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I will be seeing him tomorrow. So I will absolutely let him know. And again, like I said, thank you. Have a great evening and go enjoy your family. And Merry
All right,
Christmas.
thank you. Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care. All right, everyone. As you just seen, we had a wonderful guest on. We just got done. I just got done talking with author PK Kersey, who is the visionary author of Suited for Success, and just love his book. So, like we were talking earlier, if you have not had the opportunity to purchase his book, you can find his book directly on www.suits.org. Get a copy of it. I'm telling you, and it's a great Christmas package, Christmas present for, especially for these young men. I believe that you would enjoy really having taken the time to review it. And if you're not a man, I've enjoyed reading it. I gave this copy to my son, so take the time to do something that's going to level you up, as we talked about just a few minutes ago. I also want to say, if you are interested in being on my show, you are more than welcome to send me my show in 2019. Just send me an email to KimberlyMMcLemore@gmail.com, and I will tell you what you need to provide to me. 2019 is literally just right around the corner. I can't believe it is that we got just a couple more weeks left in this year. And for if I don't get a chance to talk to you again this year, I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll see you next time. Have a great evening.